Sometimes things just go wrong during a Disney trip. And that's today's episode. This is episode 55. I'm Soraya.
I'm Aurora.
And together we're just
Your
your average Disney travelers. So everyone hopes to have a totally great, fun, positive vacation. And that's, for the most part, what happens. But sometimes things go wrong. And sometimes most of the time, it's little stuff. But sometimes big stuff can go wrong, too.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about some things that either, I wouldn't necessarily say that they're all common. But these are things that do sometimes go wrong. Some of it's more at Disney World than Disneyland, logistically, but in any case, these are things that might happen, might go wrong. What can we do to prevent it? What do you do if it happens?
Yeah.
And so we'll start. Do you want to read off actually
Sure. So the first one that we have on our list is transportation breakdown or not running.
Which is more likely at Disney World.
Yeah.
Because they have so much, like the buses and the ferries and the Skyliner and monorail. Disneyland has a little bit, but not as much.
And honestly, at Disneyland, if that did happen,
yeah,
it's if you can't get any transportation for some reason afterwards, honestly, walking, you probably can make it back, and at most probably just a couple hours, which is a lot, but. Yeah. If it was at Disney World.
Yeah, Disney World can be a little bit more problematic.
Yeah.
Disneyland, it can be a little bit more avoidable. And if something goes wrong, it's, like you said, you could walk or grab a lift or something. Transportation breakdown, there's really nothing you can do to necessarily prevent it. But one thing I would say is if you have an appointment, like a reservation or something where you need to be somewhere by a specific time.
Go early.
Yeah, give yourself some extra time because sometimes things just take longer anyways. Isn't that almost always the case? Where it just might take longer than you anticipate. And so it's just better to give yourself a little bit of leeway just in case something happens. Really, if you're stuck on a Skyliner somewhere, there's nothing you can do. You got to wait till you get moving again or rescued. Yeah. And so, there's really not a lot of options, but it doesn't happen all the time, but it does happen. So give yourself extra time, be prepared, be patient, and understand sometimes that happens. All right, what's next?
You might find yourself running late for things, or you overbooked yourself, or there were unexpected delays.
Yeah. And on that, again, I would just give extra time, Be realistic when you're making your plans, don't have reservation on top of reservation on top of reservation. Give yourself some breathing room because, first of all, you don't want to be so completely structured. But also, you just, make sure it's realistic. And then,
Because, even if it does, happen to go all right, you're still going to just feel exhausted trying to go from one thing.
Yeah, don't overbook yourself.
Yeah, you have to get there on time, and so there's always that stress.
Yeah. So when you, and again, this one might be a little bit more on the Disney World side because you tend to do more reservations and things like that over there. So just don't overbook yourself and then give yourself plenty of time to get to wherever you need to do. It does apply to Disneyland. It's just everything's so much more compact that usually it's not as much of an issue there. Okay, another one.
Getting bad advice.
Yeah, getting and then following bad advice. Yeah. So, I don't know, do you have...
something to prevent that, I think, is just to, kind of, do your own research on top of it. And also just talking to, a lot of other people, especially those who are familiar with the parks, be like, hey, and if they might not ever heard of that advice, but, they still can have their input, oh, that kind of sounds like it wouldn't really work.
Right. And because a lot of times people will go into these groups or threads and Facebook groups and places online that even websites and stuff that will share advice and experiences. But Disney is changing constantly. Things become outdated so fast that it's always best to go to the source. So even if you're collecting a whole bunch of tips through various sources and they're reliable for the most part, I would still go back and double check some of that stuff straight from the Disney websites, especially anything that's going to be really important, such as things like certain policies, especially right now with COVID, the different ever changing policies of when do you need a mask, when do you not need a mask, when is it, just what the policies are, what you can bring into parks, anything that's going to make or break too. So like if you have a really important like if for instance your child has a character, you absolutely, it will be so, I hate to say this is life or death because it's not life or death, but like it's just important. It would really make a difference to your trip if they got to meet this character. Don't just go and accept someone saying, oh, well, that character is always over here because one time when they went, that character was there. That might not be that where that might not be the best way to get to see that character. Do more research and find out for yourself. So whatever is really important, make sure you follow up with and make sure that you're getting good and accurate information. And anytime, if you're in doubt, go to Disney websites. Go to WaltDisneyWorld.com or Disneyland.com. And I think it's actually .go.com. I don't know what it is. But anyways, go to their websites and see what they say. Because even like us, I sold travel for many years, but there are things constantly changing, and some of the information we have will also be outdated. Or the experience that we have might have been kind of...
one time kind of thing. Or uncommon.
Yeah.
Or even if it is common, it just doesn't happen all the time.
Right. And so, don't rely on word of mouth. Like you said, Laura, to talk to people who are very familiar, but then do your own research. Back it up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But if it does happen, if you go, follow it, and I guess it really depends on the advice. I mean, I guess always just kind of be prepared.
Yeah.
Be willing to have to change your schedule a bit.
Yeah, and when you get to Disney, you can ask cast members things. So if you're following some advice and it's not seeming to work, ask someone. Say, hey, we were told this. Is this true? Or do you still do this? Or is there a better way? And they will help direct you to, they will try to help you get what you're wanting to achieve.
Yeah.
All right, what's another one?
People in your group, including you, get tired and cranky.
That never happens.
Oh, no, never.
Never, ever, ever.
We're walking all day and we're just cheerful the entire time. There's just everything is just sunshine, rainbows.
We're walking on clouds the whole time. Our feet never hurt.
Oh, yeah, and we just have endless amounts of energy.
Let's just put it out there. You will be tired.
Oh, yeah.
And you will likely at some points get a little cranky. Hopefully not very much, because hopefully,
Yeah.
But it happens.
It also depends on the person, because some people
handle things better than others, and it's more inclined. But, it's not, especially as you take a family and you've got little kids, please remember that your little kids, first of all, if your feet are tired, think about how they take usually twice as many steps as you do. Now, they may be sometimes in strollers or once in a while getting carried, but mostly they're, if they're walking, they're going to be exhausted as well.
Even if they are carried a lot, just they're not used to that, and they're not going to be nearly as adaptable.
Yeah, nobody is used to a full day in the parks and then on more than one day, in a row.
Yeah.
And so they're going to be tired.
Oh, yeah.
Overstimulated. So just be patient about that. Try to be understanding of them. Don't get angry. Don't expect too much of your little kids. Recognize when they are getting tired and take a break. Yeah. And if it means, and I've always said, you've heard me say it, go back to your hotel, take a nap, go for a swim, or even if you're not willing to do that, go to a quieter part of the parks. We've talked about other, places throughout the parks that are a little bit more quiet and relaxing. Go somewhere there and just let them have some quiet time for a few minutes, even if they don't take a nap, just to get a little bit of a break from all that stimulation. And for the same for yourself, if you feel the need to do that, do that. Take a break. But part of the way you can try to prevent it is to have a good attitude, pace yourself, don't try to rush, make sure you stay hydrated.
Yeah, if you can, get good night's sleep, if you know
start the day fresh.
if you know there's like method like certain things that'll help you sleep better, even if you
If
don't.
you need to bring a white noise machine or fan,
even if you
or...
don't like have trouble sleeping in general, like just anything that can make you have an even better night sleep or whatever, it will make a
make a
big
big difference for sure. Another thing that I've thought of, I've heard other people say, is to treat each other as if it's everyone's birthday, because you tend to be kinder and nicer to people when you know it's their birthday. So maybe you don't even have to think of it as a birthday, but it's a special day. This is a special experience. And so treat each other like you're trying to make sure that they each have a special experience too. It helps you be more patient with one another.
Yeah.
So, okay. I'm realizing it's going to take forever to get through this list. We're probably going to maybe do half and then have to do a part 2 and do another episode, I think. All right, what's next?
Long lines and waits.
And that's another thing that's a given. You're going to have them.
Yeah.
You're definitely going to have some times where you're waiting in line.
Yeah. Something that I kind of just popped in my head. Okay, like, I guess, like, also just having, like, good shoes just in general will help with the not only walking but with this.
The standing in line hurts your feet and back more than walking does.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
And so like but what I was gonna say was also just like having something to help take your mind off things.
Mm-hmm.
Like whether it's like sort of a fidget thing.
Sure.
If it's just yourself, or like maybe like start like a little discussion with the group you're in, like maybe a little debate or something.
Well, you could start discussion. You could also play a little game. Like you could do, either you could do some I Spy, or you could look for hidden Mickeys. They of course have the games on the apps. You can look up information about the attraction that you're waiting for and talk about some fun facts of that, what area you're in or what you're about to do, or maybe you could be talking about the movie, the storyline of the ride you're about to ride. Lots of things like that. Some people will sometimes bring like cards. So if you're waiting for a show or a parade, you could maybe even play some cards, So there's different things you can do to try to kill the time. Like you said, kind of distract yourself. So, yeah.
Because you can't really avoid.
No, I mean, now they're coming out with, Disney World already has it, and we're going to get it at Disneyland at some point. The Disney Genie Plus with the lightning lanes that you could choose to pay for to skip some of those lines. But even still, you can't do that for everything. You will always have some lines you have to wait in. So it's not really avoidable. You can be smart about it. If you know an attraction you really want to see is prone to long lines, do that earlier. Or watch the times a few days beforehand, see when the trends are, and if maybe it dies down again later on in the evening, wait and do it then. But plan ahead, but then just be patient.
Yeah.
Be patient and have some distraction and things to do to keep you busy.
Yep.
All right.
Flight delays or traffic delays. Not really anything you can really do about this.
No, you can try to plan your flights and travel during times that aren't going to be as busy.
Yeah.
And
also, if possible, give yourself like an extra day, like what?
Come in the day before. Don't try to arrive the same day you're going into a park.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is a little bit more relaxing. You can just take your time, and then it doesn't really matter what time you get there and get to your hotel. You just enjoy the rest of the day there.
Yeah, but you might not be able to do that because of the timing.
Yeah.
So
I would, a piece of advice I would give if you're flying into Florida, into the Orlando area, try not to be landing or taking off if you're leaving. Try not to be flying in or out of Orlando in the late afternoon, especially in the summer, or mid to late afternoon. So anytime 2 to 5 or 6, try to avoid those times because they frequently have thunderstorms, and that will divert traffic sometimes quite a ways and delay you for a couple hours. And so we've had that happen to us. I don't know if you remember that, but we've done that where we had to, I think they diverted us to Jacksonville or something. And anyways, we were several hours behind schedule. Thankfully, we didn't plan to go into the parks that day, but it meant we got into our hotel quite a bit later than we anticipated. But try to avoid flying in or out of Orlando around that time. But the same with driving down to, if you're driving over to Anaheim, LA traffic's awful. Avoid LA if you can. And if you can't, really try to make sure you're not doing it during some peak traffic times. Yeah. But anyhow, just kind of think about that. There's not much you can do completely though, because sometimes there's just going to be Some delays.
Yeah.
Be patient. Yeah.
A
There's
lot
so
of
much of this is patience.
Yeah, pretty much. If you're running late or something, like, don't panic. Just, like, there's not, like, if something like that, there's not much you can really do.
Yeah.
And when it's in that situation, just relax. Kind of just accept that you can't change it. And just kind of just relax and then figure out, like, okay, what can we do to make this
A
better and still
yeah.
work?
Yeah. Yep.
But on this, like, kind of going along the lines of weather.
Yeah. So, and this isn't just for travel, but like while you're in the parks or at the resorts, weather can affect.
Yeah, especially Florida.
With their afternoon thunderstorms, as we just said. Yeah.
Like it's like at the water parks, those would get closed quite.
Yeah, they pull everyone out of the water, and you have to just wait for the storm to pass. And yeah. So ways to prevent it: you can't control the weather, but you can know weather patterns. We know that summer is going to have thunderstorms just about every day at Disney World.
Yeah,
you just know that. So if you just aren't willing to deal with that, don't go that time of year. Just don't. But you also still have some days, I mean, any day of the year could rain in Florida or California, and sometimes occasionally it does. It's more likely around, say January, February, but you could get rain anytime, so sometimes you can't avoid it.
Yeah.
But be smart, look at the weather patterns. If weather is an important part of your trip or if it's going to make a big difference to you, look up when if you don't like the heat, don't go in the summer. Or if you don't like the cold, if you don't want to chance a rainy day in Anaheim, don't go in January or February. You still might get a rainy day, but it's less likely if you're going in the summer, for instance, or the fall. But anyhow, if it happens that you are at Disney and it rains, don't let it stop you from going into the parks. Get a parka, get a poncho, get an umbrella, or just get wet.
Yeah.
We lived in the Pacific Northwest all of Aurora's life until just a couple years ago, and we never melted. We didn't get washed away.
It can be uncomfortable, especially if it's cold rain.
Yeah.
But it's not going to rain, and chances are, like, the clothes you're wearing, like, chances are it's going to be fine unless you're wearing something fancy, which I don't know why you would wear that at a theme park or amusement park.
Yeah. So,
like, normal, walking clothes going to be completely fine.
Yeah. I mean, it's not ideal, but, I mean, if it's raining, don't let it ruin your vacation.
Yeah.
Don't be the person that sits in their hotel room going, oh, what are we going to do now? We're missing out on our Disney trip. Go into the parks and, like I said, grab a poncho, grab an umbrella, just go and have fun. There are some attractions that cannot run on when it's raining for safety reasons, but most of them can. And the benefit to it is that there are so many people that don't want to be out in the rain that the parks tend to be a lot less crowded when it's raining, and you can get through a bunch of rides with less weight.
And even if they are in the park, they often are inside, like, shops.
Hiding under, in shops and under eaves and stuff,
And so, it's
get out, go get in line and ride some rides with low weight.
Yeah.
Yep. And if it's hot, because that's water, that's rain. But if it's hot, again,
it's a bit refreshing.
Well, no, I'm just saying if you're going when it's hot, that can be miserable. So plan for that too. They have the fans you can carry. You can spray yourself. Make sure you stay hydrated.
I thought you were saying it was hot and then it started raining.
No. That's what you want when it's hot.
Yeah.
But plan. Sometimes if it's really hot, it's good to plan your attractions where you might have one or two that you're doing outside, but then make sure you get an indoor one to give yourself a break and have some air conditioning to cool off. Plan to take more breaks when it's hot.
Yeah.
And to drink lots of water. I just took a sip of water because I got something in my throat. Okay, so those are possible. You're going to deal. I know you're going. Well, that's because no matter what, you're going to deal with weather. It's hard to have a perfect weather time, day, because it's always somebody's going to be too cold or someone's going to be too hot. But anyways, okay.
It's nice to have a positive outlook. Like, hey, even if it's annoying sometimes to have rain, but just kind of think hey, I don't know, just if you can,
I'd so much rather have rain than really hot, humid weather.
Yeah, but like, yeah, if you can, like, if you're a person who can change their mindset, then definitely try to. Even if you're not a person who can really do that easily,
just try to have a better attitude about it. Yeah. Look on the bright side.
Yeah.
Low weights. Okay, what's another one?
Ride closures.
And this can be in multiple ways. Sometimes an attraction is scheduled down. They're doing maintenance or they're doing some sort of change to the ride or whatever. And we know it's going to be down. You can see that on the website. But sometimes rides just go down. Sometimes they'll go down while you're riding it.
Or right before you're about to get in line.
When you've waited in line for 30, 40 minutes and you're the next one to get on and then it goes down.
Yeah, and then you have to stand there for an additional 45 minutes.
Are we speaking from a Space Mountain experience? Yes.
No, I mean, it was kind of cool because they had to turn off.
Yeah.
Turn on the lights.
Yeah.
And like, it's not like we could say anything since we're before.
Yeah, you're in the queue still.
Yeah, but did we? No. Okay, so we were watching the ride
behind the attractions,
and it was talking about, I don't know which one, or I think it was from that. I don't know. Basically, it's talking about what ride?
I don't know.
Is it the People Mover, the one that goes?
Oh yeah.
Basically, maybe it wasn't even that show.
Yeah.
But basically, it you basically can, on the People Mover, you can see, kind of like look into the ride, and so if it breaks down, you
get an extra view of some fun stuff you don't normally get to see. That's on rides. The other rides, it still can be kind of cool.
That was just something that popped in my mind. That has no.
One of the things that I try to remember when there's ride closures, whether I'm on it or if it's one that I was hoping to ride and then it all of a sudden goes down, try to remember that the reason why they do ride closures is for safety.
Yeah.
Don't try to say, oh, they should let us on. Da, 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 da. Dude, it's not worth anyone's safety to force a ride. It's just remember that. Keep our perspective. They're only going to close it because trust me, Disney wants these rides up and running. So if it's not able to be running right now, just wish for everyone's safety. That's what we want the most.
Yeah.
They do also, sometimes you'll be on a ride and it'll say that it's stopping for a minute. A lot of times, like, it'll just be for a few seconds, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Because some of those continual rides, like say Haunted Mansion or Little Mermaid or something, a lot of times that's because they're loading someone that has special needs or unloading them. And so sometimes it's just this really small delay. But when we're talking ride closures, like, you're not going to get to ride this ride because it's not even running at all that day.
Yeah.
It's disappointing, but safety is most important.
And also, they often do, like, if you're, I don't know always if you're on, it's typically not, like, they will often give you, like, a sort of, like, some rides will give you
almost like a fast pass to return. Sometimes
it depends on where you're also at,
and it depends on the ride too.
Depending on the ride and also where you're at on the ride. Whether if you're on the ride, unless you're literally like right during the middle, like Star Tours and got interrupted in the middle. But
and I haven't had it happen very often where I was stuck on a ride that they had to evacuate us off. In fact, we just did earlier this summer. We did on Rise of the Resistance.
Experience.
It was because we were almost at the. I mean, like, we had finished the ride. We were on our way to the exit, and
right
that's
around the corner.
But we had to wait until we were walked off because for safety reasons, you can't just go and leave yourself. So we had to wait until they came and got us and walked us off. So it took a little bit of time, but then they gave us the return. Anytime that day, we could go back once it was up again. And that was kind of cool since we got the Fast Pass return for that. But Fast Pass, man, those aren't Fast Passes anymore.
Now it would be
I know. We got to skip the line. Let's just say that.
What are they called? Lightning lanes.
Lightning lanes are now.
Mouthful.
You're just gonna have to get used to it. This is the future, baby. This is the future.
Well,
anyways, so ride closures, they happen. You can look ahead and see when some are forecasted, but then there's still going to be some times where something goes down. And when it goes down unexpectedly, just keep in mind, we want it to be safe.
Yeah, look, search up, like, which ones frequently kind of just close down because of just maintenance. Like,
that's true. There are some that are more prone.
Yeah, and then also know which ones will, if, like, it rains, knows which ones will go down. Like Thunder Mountain will, I believe. Right?
I don't know about that, but like Alice in Wonderland has a track that doesn't run well in the rain.
Closed during.
Some of them, it's just the way that the type of track they have are not as safe in the rain.
Last time it closed, and
it might be. Yeah, and anytime there's a lightning, they will always close. But anyways, okay, so so some of that you can look ahead of time, and like you said, it is good to be aware of which ones tend to go down sooner, because then you're going to probably want to, or more often, because you're probably going to want to try to do those early in the day. If you wait till late in the day, they might be down. If you try it early in the day and it's down, you still get chances to try again later. At Disneyland, I would say probably Rise of the Resistance, although the Rise of the Resistance at Disney World goes down more than Disneyland, I believe.
Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know why.
Maybe it's just...
I don't know.
A little different.
I have no idea, but there's something about it that seems to be that they have problems. And the other one at Disney World just has...
Because it could be affecting the parts and how they...
I have no idea. But Test Track is another one at Disney World that is very commonly going down. It's another one you want to do early in the day.
I wonder what makes that one go down.
I don't know. But I'm trying to think if there's any other... I can't think of any others that are just known for always going down.
I know it... Not always, but like I know there's some that are more prone. Like, isn't Space Mountain?
Well, yeah, a little bit maybe, but actually Indiana Jones has often had troubles too. So, just so kind of be aware and be prepared. But okay, next one, because we are already taking forever.
Probably can only do like one more.
Well, we'll do a couple more, and then we'll have to stop and do a part 2.
Okay. Other guests can be irritating and or rude.
Oh man, don't you wish you could control other people sometimes? Yeah, you can't control other people. Some people are just not nice, or they're not really experiencing or contributing to the magical Disney spirit, Yeah. And you can't control that.
Yeah.
And Disney can't control that either. So just know that you're going to be around people, and some people aren't as considerate as they should be, and my philosophy is I just still try to be considerate. I sometimes fail, but I try to.
And like if they're being rude to someone else, make sure that other person, like especially if they're a worker,
especially a cast member, if it's being rude to a cast member. Yeah, I agree with you. So like after you go up to that person and let them know that you feel for them, or like you agree with them, or you support them or something, and just say, hey, thanks, I think you're doing a good job, and I'm sorry you had to go through that, or whatever, because man, you know how it feels when someone just is rude to you. But if someone else comes up and is kind, it's like, oh, you're my best friend now, I love you. Because you're just got reamed over something that was probably even beyond your control. But anyways, okay, another one.
Your stroller will get moved,
and it will. If you have a stroller at Disney, at any attraction, it will get moved while you're on the ride, probably. Because they have to kind of keep, as people are getting strollers in and out, the cast members will kind of keep making sure everything's consolidated and out of the way. And so chances are your stroller's going to get moved. So don't freak out. Don't worry that it's been stolen. Just know that you're going to have to look.
Really, something goes wrong. It's just really...
It's just that, well, it can be a panic.
Yeah.
If you
it's
don't
the
know
reaction of it.
You don't know if you don't know to expect that, that can be really annoying. And upsetting even. So we always say mark your stroller somehow like with a scarf or something that's bright colored, that's so it's easy to pinpoint where your stroller is, because if it's not where you left it, you got to find it. And you probably don't want to take 15 minutes looking for your stroller in a sea of strollers. It'll be easier to spot if you have something distinguishable on it. And I would highly recommend not choosing to wait until you get to the parks and buying a balloon, because so many people do that you're just going to have to then be distinguishing between all the other strollers with balloons. So a bright scarf or something that really stands out that will make it unique.
Yeah.
That's my best piece of advice on that.
Yeah. Your stroller might get rained on while you're inside.
And that's especially like at Disney World when these thunderstorms come out of the middle of nowhere. You could be in the Enchanted Tiki room, and you come back out and a whole thunderstorm has come through, and now your strollers are wet or whatever.
Yeah, soaked.
Yeah. So if it's that time of year, I would just put a poncho over my stroller, you know, and if it doesn't rain, okay, no harm, no foul. But if it rains, then it's been a little bit covered. Or if you don't have a poncho, I guess even a blanket or towel, but I would try to do a poncho.
you realize after you're already there that you wish you had a stroller for your kids.
Yeah, we're on a stroller topic. So
Yeah.
sometimes people think, oh, my kids are too big for strollers, like maybe a 4 or 5 year old. Technically, maybe that's true, especially if you were going to a park or on a regular walk. But like we mentioned at the beginning, Disney is a totally different beast. There's so much walking, and your little kids are going to get so tired, and it is not uncommon. And I don't think people will judge at all to see 7 and 8 year olds in strollers because their little legs get tired. It's a long day. And not only is it nice because it gives them a break from walking, but then it also gives them a place to maybe take a nap if they get tired enough.
Yeah, and like even like it's like, and also like the younger you are, the more likely like typically if you're tired, you're gonna be cranky, and then that it does not help.
Yeah.
The whole like feeling.
So if you have someone in that age range, even if you don't think you will need the stroller, if you have the ability to bring it just in case, bring it just in case on the trip. It may even turn out that you don't use it, but if it turns out that you're finding your kid is tired and could really use it, then you'll have it there in the hotel room to go grab and use, or to use in the future days. If you don't have the means to bring it and you're there and you realize you really wish you had it, you can rent them. You can go to Disney and rent a stroller, and yeah, it'll cost you a little bit of money, but it will probably save you in annoying and like the poor kid will feel better, and that will make it better for you. And so yeah, that's my 2 cents on it. Do you have any memories of wishing you had a stroller? Because here is the thing, we didn't really take strollers, and you have gone as young as 5, so we could have technically if we had thought about it, but I think what ended up happening is Dad carried you a lot.
Oh yeah,
he
did.
His shoulders, he was like a pack mule. And so that might be what you're looking at too if you don't have a stroller and find it. Yep. All right. So let's go ahead and
we're about halfway.
I think we're about halfway. So we're going to take a break.
Yeah.
So we're going to end this episode, and if any of this is helpful and you want some more, tune in next week because we're going to do a part 2 to this, things that sometimes go wrong at Disney, because we haven't made it all the way through our list. There's still at least another, as much as we've gotten, more, and probably others that we haven't thought about.
I wonder if that looks, I mean, we kind of got through half, so I mean.
Yeah, hopefully. So we're halfway there. But thanks for listening this week, and hopefully we will have you there next week, and we'll continue the topic.
See you.
Bye.